Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Mr. Holipsism. I'm in a really strange place right now. Once again, we have two more black bodies to pile on to the rest of the black bodies that continue to mount up. And there's so many things running through my mind right now and so many things that I want to say, but I'm going to try to be as focused with this video as possible. And I wanted to focus around this question. How many black people have to die? How many more black people have to die? Because you Negroes fear land, infrastructure, and nationhood. See, I had made this point, and if you can, go back to a video that I did on Jesse Williams. And I made a point during that video where I said, we'll know we've reached a tipping point when the masses, the grassroots, the people who actually listen to these talking heads, understand and truly comprehend that Captain America Negroes, Black Power Americans, and militant integrationists have failed them. We haven't reached a tipping point yet because somebody can look at the deaths. And what made this one really, really hit home for me was in the Philando Castile death when his girlfriend had the wherewithal to actually live stream what was going on after the cop had shot him. And in that video, she was keeping it together and holding it together for as long as she could. And at the end, she started breaking down and getting hysterical. And in the midst of that, her little daughter said to her, "It's okay, mommy. I'm here with you." Something in me just, if you can't feel the pain of your people when they experience police brutality, you are a coward. And that's all I'll say about that. I have more to say about you, but that's not something that we can deal with until we're organized. But I'll just say that. You're a coward. And you should not feel comfortable getting online or even in a conversation going against the pain of your people. But I don't want to get too far in that because that'll take me over the edge. I'm going to get back and get focused to what my point is. We have to reach that tipping point. And I believe that this is going to help the tipping point. It's a bad thing. It's a silver lining in a very, very dark gray cloud. But the one silver lining is when you see these cases where there is really no rational reason to be against the black people in these cases. You can go back to 2000 whatever and try to find a criminal record. None of that was present when the cops shot the dude. You know what I'm saying? So you can't try to paint them as thugs, especially Philando Castile. You can't paint him as a thug. So all of your talking points are just disabled right now. All of the traditional bullshit is disabled. When it's there in black and white, we cannot have, and you feel the palpable pain of our people, where you can feel it. It's palpable. You should not be allowed to be kicking no, we can do it right here, pro-America, equal rights bullshit. When we will know we've reached a tipping point where the grassroots people no longer tolerate that type of talk. The only solution to our problem right now, if we don't include the solution of land infrastructure nationhood in the BAIO, is violence. And violence is not going, and disorganized violence is not the solution. I have no problem with violence. I just like my violence organized. I have no issue with violence because the people that's killing us have no issue with it. So don't come to me with that bullshit like I'm saying something controversial. But disorganized violence is just emotional and it's reactionary and it does no good. Organized violence is the exact opposite. Organized violence proves a point. Organized violence makes an example. Organized violence lets people know that you can't fuck with people without having repercussions. And what I'm saying is not controversial because the United States endorses this, the Chinese endorse it, the Jews endorse it, the Italians endorse it, the Germans endorse it. Every ethnic group on the face of the earth endorses it. You just don't let people kill your people and there not be any consequences for it. You know? So what's so controversial about that? You're just playing by the same rules as everybody else. But see, when you don't have a nation, when you don't have an organized structure, then what it does is it takes some lone nut, the lone nut theory, who's had enough, and then he or she goes about the process of getting revenge or trying to probably hurt and kill somebody that had nothing to do with the situation. And then that person will do it and they'll either kill themselves or they'll get locked up for 1,000,000,000 years. So it's not the answer. The answer to our collective problems here in America, the answer to this police brutality, the answer to all of the discrimination and the racism and the killing, the answer is not, yo, we put a lot here in America. We can do it right here. That's not the answer. And those type of niggas should be not be allowed to be having those type of opinions expressed during this time and feel comfortable doing it. I'll give you the answer. The answer is nationhood. The answer has always been nationhood. It didn't just pop up because of these two deaths. Because if anybody wants to, go throughout my history and go through my videos and go through the videos of all my BAIO members, we've been kicking this stuff and talking about the same thing for years. Our biggest problem when it comes to nationhood is we can't even have a rational discussion with people about nationhood because they have so many misconceptions that you have to clear up before you can even have the conversation. Like there was a brother online who told me that he was a black nationalist. So then I started talking about Africa. Oh, Africa, they don't like us. Da, 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 da. And it sounded like I was talking to a straight up white supremacist. But he called himself a black nationalist. How the fuck you gonna be a black nationalist and be against Africa? And not understand that not everybody's going to Africa. The vast majority of our people are going to stay where they are. They're going to stay in America. They're going to stay in Brazil. They're going to stay in the Caribbean. They're going to stay wherever they are located right now. There's going to be a small percentage of us from each of those demographics, but mostly from African American demographic. That's just the way it is. It's just most of them are going to be African American. But we're going to have a small demographic of people that are going to establish the nation state on the continent. The nation state on the continent is our Israel. The nation state on the continent is our China. The nation state on the continent is our Germany. The nation state on the continent is our Mexico. Do you understand? Do you see where I'm going with this? Is it that difficult to comprehend? You can't have a Chinatown without a China. You can't have a little Italy without an Italy. Do you understand where I'm going with this? You can have an established power in the areas that you're in. We've never had an issue with that. When we talk about we can do it right here, What we're talking about is people who think that we can establish a power base of operations inside the country of our enemies. You are an idiot. You are a fool. You are a jackass. You're a dipshit. You're a moron. You're anything that you can think of that's the degrading name and derogatory name. That's what you are. And when you're perceived as that by the masses of our people, then we know we've reached a tipping point, and then things can start actually moving. The answer is nationhood, people. The answer's been nationhood. The answer is going to be nationhood when you hear about the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people dying by the police. And for all of you jackasses, all of you idiots, all of you low frequency, knuckle dragging, inbred, mouth breathing idiots who always want to say black on black crime as a counter to police brutality. Next time somebody does that to you people, all you got to do is say is this. This is all you got to do. And I'm not even going to paraphrase. I'm going to go right to what I wrote, because I wrote this as a status message on my Facebook page. All you got to do is say this. You can copy and paste, you can save it, whatever. Ask them, when did the police department set gangbangers and thugs who prey on the black community as the bar for their department's behavior? I was under the impression the police were trying to protect the community from those elements, not copy them and take their marching orders from them. If he did it too doesn't work for 5-year-olds, how do you expect it to work for grown-ass men and women in the police department? That's all you have to say to disarm that lame ass talking point, because they always want to throw up black on black crime when you start talking about police brutality as if they give a shit about black people killing each other. Black people killing each other is what we're supposed to do. It's what they configured this society in a way that we are designed to do it. So black people killing black people is not, it's just, it reminds me of that scene in with the Joker in The Dark Knight, where he says, if I were to kill a bunch of soldiers on a truck or kill some gangbangers, nobody would raise an eyebrow about it, because that's the natural order of things. That's the way things are supposed to be. But if I threaten to kill one little mayor, then everybody loses their mind, because it goes against, what the established order is. And it's the same thing. Black people are supposed to kill black people. That's what this society, this is what America has designed our neighborhoods to do, for us to kill each other. So don't come to me with this, oh, well, black on black crime is a problem. Yeah, it's a fucking problem. It's a problem for us, but it ain't no problem for you. White society has no problems with black people killing black people in black neighborhoods. Don't get it twisted. Now, you want to know what they got a problem with? Do you want to know what really will raise their eyebrows? Me and Dev said this years ago. Let's say, this is just a hypothetical. After you find out that these brothers get killed, each black person who's a working black person in this country goes to their payroll department and says, do not take out city, state, or federal taxes out of my check until I let you know when to start taking it out. And let's say all of us do that for 2 pay periods. Do you realize the amount of damage that would do to this country? You ain't got to walk. You ain't got to march. You don't have to get some new Nike with the fucking pump on it. You don't got to do any of that shit. All you got to do is tell them, don't take any taxes from my check. And it's not like you have to ask permission. It's your check. Your job isn't a tax collections agency for the IRS. You can tell them not to take out taxes for the rest of the year. That's between you and the IRS. If every black person did that, that's working, this economy would collapse. And you ain't got to march. You can do it from the comfort of your living room. You can go. You don't actually have to change your schedule. You can go to work. You can do all of that. But you would be making a far more impactful statement by doing that than by marching and protesting. And that's just for us being here, because we definitely have to do something while we're here. We cannot continue. This is not acceptable. We cannot continue to let our people be slaughtered by the authorities, by the police. We can't continue that. You know, if I'm in my family and me and my brother and my sister are fighting, um, that's between me, my brother, my sister, and my family. Just because I'm fighting my brother, don't mean that you have the right to come into my house and kill me. So I don't even understand why bringing up black on black crime is even right. Why do people even take that seriously or relevant? It has nothing to do with anything. We are being killed systematically by this system, by the police, and we're dying at a rate that white people don't die at and nobody else dies at. That's exclusively ours. And that's the reason why there's a Black Lives Matter movement. And that's the reason why you've never heard me say anything negative about Black Lives Matter. Because Black Lives Matter, just like every other grassroots organization in the past 10 years, has been hijacked. You know, it's been hijacked and turned into some other shit by people who are not black. But the initial reason and motivation behind the movement, I'm in total support of. But to sum this all up, the one thing that they fear, the one thing that's going to get us respect is a nation. When we organize to the point where we have a nation state, and we organize to the point where we have our own government, and we become organized, and we start connecting and networking and mobilizing with all of our African brothers and sisters in the diaspora, where we have a place where we can have a collective voice that speaks for our people. That will scare the living shit out of them. That's the thing that they want to avoid at all costs. They want you to stay here still thinking, still under the illusion that you can be a part of this American system and be treated equally like everybody else. That's what they want. And if you keep playing that game, we're going to keep having situations like we just had, and more dead bodies are going to keep being added onto the pile while you people sit here and listen to cowards. Listen to people who don't give a damn about you. Because if they gave a damn about you, they'd be pushing for land, infrastructure, nationhood. What they want is to maintain a little hustle here in America and keep black people tied to this situation. You would never tell your girlfriend or your who's in an abusive relationship to stay with her abuser. You wouldn't do it. So if you have somebody telling you to stay right here, and when I say stay right here, I don't mean all of us getting up in my house. It's a shame that I have to say this and qualify this, because I think I'm dealing with intelligent people. It doesn't mean that all of us have to pick up and get out of America. But what it does mean is that we have to organize and establish that nation state on the continent as our base of operations. If we do not do that, and we continue to stay here and think that we can do it all right here and establish our power base right here, or come up with some economic whatever right here in America, you are out of your fucking mind. And these bodies are going to continue to pile up on the pile that already exists. And that's all I got to say about that. Hopefully somebody will get this video. Somebody will understand what the fuck I'm trying to say and agree with it. Because all we need to do is get the grassroots people to agree with the fact that we need a nation state. Once we do that, that begins the process of solving a lot of these problems that we have in America. If we don't do that, then we pretty much deserve whatever we fucking get. And on that note, I'm gonna holler at you good people later. And hopefully, I don't wanna put this energy out there, but I hope that we don't have any more deaths before we come to this conclusion, because our people can't afford for us to keep lollygagging and stalling on nationhood. Talk to you people later. Peace.